Good morning! This is my first breakfast video and I've got all my ingredients ready. Today I'm going to make a frittata. So I have my beverage and I have all the ingredients I'm going to need. I have 8 eggs. I'm going to put bacon in it today and then a choice of vegetables. When you make your frittata, just plan on having about 8 eggs and roughly 1 to 2 cups of chopped vegetables of your choice. The meat is optional. If you do not use a bacon or a sausage that provides grease, you'll want to use 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. First thing I'm going to do is cut my bacon into small pieces. I just have stacked my 2 pieces of bacon and I just want them maybe a ½ inch. You can go bigger, you can go littler, but just something that makes it smaller, bite size, so that it's easy to put into the frittata, mix around, and not bite into a ginormous piece of bacon when you eat your frittata. All right, I've already had my pan preheating on the oven, stovetop rather. So now I'm just going to add my bacon and let it start cooking while I prepare my vegetables. One reason I like cooking with bacon is it sounds like applause. Okay, while my bacon cooks, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my vegetables. Love to cook with onions, so I'm going to cut the ends off, the outer skin or 2 away. And I don't need a lot of onion, just enough for some flavoring. So depending on the size of the onion and how thick you cut each ring, I might do 1 to 2 rings and save the rest of the onion for later. Then I just usually cut it in half, stack it, but you don't have to, and cut it into tiny little pieces. This is known as dicing. So I've got my onion diced. Just set it aside in a bowl for later. I'm going to go ahead and prep my mushrooms. I'm probably going to cut these 2 by hand. You can use white. I like baby portobello. These are ginormous baby portobello. But I do want to show you one cool little kitchen tool that I have if you don't already have it. It's awesome to get, an egg slicer. Actually works well also with strawberries, obviously hard-boiled eggs, but you can use it for mushrooms as well. So you just set that on there, push this down. These mushrooms are a little big for it, so I have to work that down around those edges a little bit, and I have a sliced mushroom that quick. It's handy and convenient, but again, the majority of my mushrooms are too big for that, so I'm just going to cut them by hand. Sometimes I cut the tip of that stem off, and it's okay if they're a little thick, because mushrooms generally cook up quickly and they're ready to go. I can leave them this big. I'm going to be putting them in a frittata, so I am literally going to just kind of roughly cut them in half so they're a little bit more bite size and not too big for my frittata. I might wait on that other mushroom and just do that. So I also wanted to add some peppers. You can do bell pepper. These little mini sweet peppers are great. Often for peppers, you'll want to use a serrated knife, depending on how sharp your straight edge is. My straight edge would cut these just fine. I pre-washed them, so I just come along and slice them in little rounds. When I get near the seeds, doesn't have to be a pretty little cut. I'll just cut it like that. And then I'll cut up the other 2. I took a quick break to stir the bacon and have a drink. Finished chopping my vegetables, and now they are ready to add to the pan with the bacon. As you can see, hopefully the bacon has started to brown and crisp. It's not totally done and totally crispy, but I'm getting some grease in there that will help my eggs from sticking. Again, otherwise I would have used olive oil. But now I'm going to add my vegetables and let them essentially saute in that bacon grease. I'm just going to stir them around so they can kind of get coated in that grease and get distributed around the pan. And I will stir them on occasion. While they are preparing, I am going to crack my eggs and get those stirred up and ready. Okay, fun fact with eggs, obviously you don't have to use brown, you can use white, whatever you want. There are a variety of ways to crack them. Some people hit them on a counter, some on the edge of a bowl or whatever. I'm not consistent with what I do. Today I'll probably use a counter. and just crack it, dump it in. And I'm going to do this, obviously, with all 8 eggs. If you find that you get shell in your eggs while you're cracking, a tip to get that little piece of shell out is to use half a shell. I don't have one in there. I might, but if you do, you just dip it in, and that little piece of egg shell will tend to gravitate toward the big egg shell. So you'll just want to continue cracking and putting in all 8 eggs. I took a break to finish cracking my eggs and stir my bacon and vegetable mix. You can use a whisk or a fork, up to you, and you'll just want to stir in the eggs. I do not add milk to this. Some people add milk to their omelets or their scrambled eggs, but for my frittata, I do not. So you're just going to whisk it to break the egg yolk and get it good and mixed, ready to pour in. Okay, so I have my eggs ready to go. I'm going to give my bacon and vegetable mix one more stir. You can tell that they are good and sauteed. That bacon is cooked and ready. And I'm going to spread them out so that we get a bite of each yummy goodness in each piece of frittata. When I have them spread out, I'm going to go ahead and take my eggs and pour them in the pan so that they cover the vegetables. I take a little bit of salt and pepper and season this. It can always be seasoned later with more and/or using salsa or any topping of your choice, guacamole, maybe depends on what you put on it. But I'm going to cover this with a lid. And I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes while the frittata cooks. Okay, 5 minutes later, my timer went off and my frittata is ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and cut it in the pan, but I am not going to use a metal knife. I have a non-metal knife. I got this particular one from Pampered Chef. If you have just a normal knife, butter knife that you're going to use, you might want to consider using a spatula to take this out of the pan and put it onto a cutting board so that you're not scraping your pan. Also, the pan that you cook a frittata in might matter. Eggs do tend to stick to aluminum pans and others, so keep that in mind. But I generally just cut my frittata into 4 pieces because it's kind of thin. You can cut it into more or into less, totally your choice. Having a little hard time cutting through the bacon with my non-metal knife. That is one issue. Okay, and then I'll just grab a spatula. Again, one that will not scratch my pan. And I'm just going to take it out, plate it, and it's ready to go. Enjoy!